Hey guys, it's Julia, and for today's video I'm going to be doing my July wrap-up, and it's where I show you guys all the books that I read throughout the month of July and my thoughts on them and a synopsis and things of that sort. I did participate in a readathon this month. I participated in the cramathon, and I did a wrap-up video. I did a TBR video, so I didn't do a wrap-up video. I just wanted to include it in this one. Also, I discovered Overdrive this month, so some of these I don't physically own, and I went to the library this month, so some of these I don't physically own. So I think that's all I have to say. I apologize, it's going to be a long video. I read about 27 things this month, things being novels, novellas, and mangas. So basically that summer goal that I set for myself, which was 25 to 30 books, I basically already completed that, so that puts a weight off my shoulders. But yeah, let's get into the books. This is going to be long, so if you guys want any in-depth videos on these specifically, leave a comment down below on which one and I will maybe do it. So yeah, thank you guys, and yeah, let's just get into it. The first book I read this month was Finders Keepers by Stephen King. I actually read this at the end of June, so I filmed my wrap-up before I finished this, so I'll be including it in this video. And this book is the second book in the Bill Hodges trilogy, which is Stephen King's crime mystery trilogy. And I really enjoyed this book. I had a music to book experience with this one, and you know, when you listen to a song like a lot while you're reading a book, when you listen to the song again, you just think of the book. And for me, that was Get Out Alive by 3 Days Grace, which was a good song for this. So I really enjoyed this one. If you haven't started the trilogy, I really recommend it. There's only 2 books out right now, and this came out in the beginning of June or the month before that, but it is a new release of Stephen King's, so I would check it out. And there's a lot of references to things from like today and years and like the previous years, and there's a lot of references that I liked in this, and it was really good crime mystery, and I really need the next book, and you guys know what I'm talking about if you've read it. So yeah, great book. I gave this a 4 to a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Next, I read A Monster Called by Patrick Ness, and I really enjoyed this one. This is about a boy named Connor, and he has a monster comes to visit him, and that's very vague, but that's how you should go into this. And it's short and it's powerful, so you don't want to know like the whole premise, like just read it for what it is. And the thing I really loved about this was the illustrations. They made the story so much better, so if you have the option to get the one with the illustrations, I would get the book with the illustrations in it because they're just gorgeous. And I know there's one without the illustrations, but if you can get this one, I would totally recommend getting it because it's really pretty, really short, and it's really powerful, and it was a good read. I gave this about a 4.5 out of 5 stars. So as you can see, my month, first 2 books started off really good, and I actually read this one at the end of June. So yeah, it doesn't take long at all, but it's wonderful, so check it out if you wish. Next, I read Death Note Volume 13, and this is like the how to read thing. And if you guys are familiar with the Death Note series, you would know that there really isn't necessarily a Volume 13. I can see why they called it Volume 13, but the series stops at Volume 12, and this book is pretty much just character bios and the plot for each book and the events that occur in each of the volumes of the book, so everything's listed out. It also has reviews with the author and the illustrator, so that's why they call it Volume 13, especially because of the character bios. You cannot read this before you finish. You have to read this when you're done the series, or else you'll be spoiled for deaths that happened in the series and who lives and who doesn't, and it's all in here, so don't pick this up if you haven't finished it. And there's also this weird card in here, and it has, I like cut the card when I was trying to cut this open because you have to cut it, and it just has, I can't show you that, but it has like Elle's name in it. It has a card with him on it, and it's really cool. And the back's like that, but I can't show you his name because I don't know if that's a spoiler for you, so yeah. But I did really enjoy this. It was really interesting for me, especially reading about the illustrator of this, just to how they came up with the designs of all the characters and everything, because all of them are so like unique and they're so cool looking that I really wanted to hear how she came up with this, and it was really interesting to read. And the fact that this is all listed out, like everything that happens, I found it really interesting, and it's good to refer to if you need a refresher from time to time. So yeah, it was good. It was good. I gave this a 4 stars basically. It was good. It's good. Next, I read Sea of Monsters by Rick Riordan, the second book in the Percy Jackson series. And I am behind on this series, obviously, like everyone loves it and they're done with it, but I'm still on, I did read the second book. I read The Lightning Thief last month, and I did quite enjoy this one. I found it interesting. Again, I had a few issues with it, and if you want to know the spoiler issues, Goodreads, it's on there, I believe. Yeah, it's on there, it should be. And I did really like this story. These are really fun to read, and Percy Jackson is a lot of fun, and I will be continuing with the next book sometime eventually. And I gave this book a 3.75 to a 4 out of 5 stars. Yes. Next, I read Made You Up by Francesca Zappia. I think I said it wrong in my review video, but this is about a girl with schizophrenia, and we follow her going to a new high school and the daily struggle of her illness. So that's all I went into it knowing, and I came out very pleased. But if you do want a more in-depth synopsis, I will leave the review video down below, or if you did read it and you want to know any of my spoilery thoughts or more of my thoughts on the book, I will have the review down below, or you can click on this book if you're on a computer and it will take you to the review. So yeah, but this book, it was really good. I really enjoyed this one, and I'm really happy I read it. It was really touching, and it was really entertaining, and it was really well done. I really enjoyed it, especially because she's a debut author. I think she did a wonderful job with it, and I loved the relationship in this, and it wasn't as if she's cured now because she met someone that she cares for. But I am really happy with this, and the fact that she met someone and that she has extra support and it didn't cure her really made me like the story even more. So I really highly recommend this one if you guys are into reading books about mental illness, because that is something I really love to read about. So I recommend this one. And I gave this a 4 to a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Yes. So far it was a good reading month, and it still continued. So the next, I read A Work in Progress by Connor Franta, and I really enjoyed this one, really did. And then if you don't know who Connor Franta is, he is a YouTuber, and yeah, he's a YouTuber and he's a wonderful human being, okay? And this is totally ruining the white balance and just everything, but I really liked this. It was really good. It has pictures of things Connor has taken, and it's just wonderful, and I really love this as a memoir. Out of the couple I've read, it has been the best one I've read, and it was beautifully written, which I was really I and it was really well done, and I'm really happy I gave it a read. And yes, so I gave this book about a 4.5 out of 5 stars. So yeah, did it for me. Check it out if you wish. White balance. Next book I read was Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover, and this is Colleen Hoover novel. And this is Colleen Hoover is a new adult author, and this book is definitely more adult than young adults. So this is a story about Tate, and she moves in with her brother, and across the hall she meets a guy named Miles. His name was Miles, and they form a neighbors with benefits kind of relationship, or friends with benefits, but they weren't really friends. So that's what this book focuses on, and I really love this book. I was really pleasantly surprised with this book and how much I enjoyed it. It's not just like a neighbors with benefits story. It follows 2 plot lines. It's wonderful, and I would really give it a go. I have a full review if you want a more in-depth review, and if you want to know any of my spoilery thoughts, I will warn you in that review. And then, so if you won't be spoiled, if you haven't read it, or if you've read it, you can hear my overall thoughts on that, and you can click on this book right here and it will take you to the review if you wish, and I'll leave it down below as well. So I gave this a 4 to a 4.5 out of 5 stars. So next book I read was White Hot Kiss by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and this book is about a girl named Layla, and she is half warden and half a demon, and wardens are gargoyles who fight demons, and she is also part demon, so she is a crossbreed between the two, and it's really interesting. And that's basically how it is. I think that's a good way to go into it, knowing that, and we follow her through dealing with her issues of finding out who she is and all this other things, and the two boys that she meets and things of that sort. I really like this book. It's a lot of fun. These books are so much fun to read, and they're so entertaining. And yeah, I do really recommend this book if you guys would like this stuff. And it was wonderful, and I really am a fan of gargoyles, so it's cool seeing them in a book like this. So very interesting. So I'd give it a shot. I'd really give it a try, and I gave it about a 3.75 to a 4 out of 5 stars. I do have a full review on this with my more in-depth thoughts and a spoilery discussion, so you can click on this book if you want to check that out as well. I've been doing a lot of reviews and it's fun, so I hope you guys are liking them. But you can click on this review, or I'll leave a link down below as well. So yeah. Next, I read Black Butler Volume 1, and this is the Black Butler manga series. And this book is like, he's kind of like a paranormal-ish kind of butler thingy. Not paranormal, but he's different, and he's a butler, and things happen. It's set in England or London or something. London. So it was really interesting. I found it really hard to follow, though. I kept having to go back and read things, and I was like, hold up, what? And I'd go back, and it's really, like, the design I feel is really unique, and the story's written in a really different kind of way, and the characters are really kind of different, which I liked, but it was a little bit of a letdown. I thought it'd be a bit better, and it was really hard to follow, and I kept like rereading things, and I was like, wait, what is happening? But yeah, it was still good. So yeah, I gave this one a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Now the next couple books I'm going to show you will be the books I read during the Cramathon readathon. That book being the first book I read for the Cramathon was Black Butler Volume 2, and the series definitely did get better in this book. Like, this book was better than the first one, and I gave it a 3.75 out of 5. Everything was more clear, it was interesting, and it was engaging, and it was a fun read. So yes. I read Black Butler Volume 3, and this one was even better, and I really did have a fun time reading this one, and I'm happy about this one. It was good. And I gave this book a 3.75 to a 4 out of 5 stars. I said that weird. Then I read Blue Exorcist Volume 1, and after reading those Black Butlers and reading this one, I loved this one just as one volume, like, more than I liked those 3 volumes, even though they're both very interesting concepts and everything. I really enjoyed Blue Exorcist, and it's about a boy who doesn't really know who his father is, and it's really interesting. Okay, just give it a shot. Blue Exorcist. It has demon things in it, and really cool, really creepy, really fun. Not that creepy, but some little pictures were kind of weird in this one, but really enjoying this one. So yeah, I give this a 4 out of 5 stars. Next, I read Find Me by Romley Bernard, and this book is a thriller, I guess, and it follows, well, I'll just read the little thing at the back, and it's just, a girl is dead, a killer's closing in, and 2 little words will change Vic's life forever, find me. And it's a really good it was good, it was okay. You know, I found it interesting because it involved, like, the main character was a hacker, which I found really interesting because I haven't read about one before. And it was really interesting, and it was fun, and it was short, and it was a lot of fun to read. And yeah, it was good. It wasn't the best, like, psychological thriller I've ever read, or it wasn't the best thriller, but it was good, and I enjoyed it, and I give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Also for the readathon, I read, well, all those books that I mentioned. As soon as I said that, I've been reading for the readathon, but I read one of these novellas. This is the bind-up of the 2 selection novellas, The Prince and the Guard. I read The Prince, and I really enjoyed it. I feel like the advertisement of it was kind of unnecessary because it says, before this America's singer was chosen to compete in the selection, she was in love. No. It says, and there was another girl in Prince Maxim's life. And you will see in the first, like, little bit that is not really the case, and it's mostly the novella of him preparing for the selection, and the selection in his perspective of part of the first book. And that was really enjoyable to read, but that advertisement, how there was someone else in his life, wasn't really it wasn't really necessary, because not really, but okay, but it was a good way it's a good way to kind of get people to buy this, obviously, because everyone wants to know who else Prince Maxim was interested in. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was fun, and I would give it a go if you wish, if you've read it. It was a lot of fun, good refresher. Maxim's a lovely human being, so I love him, so I gave this book I gave this one novella a 4 out of 5 stars, right? Yes, yes, yes. So this is the last book I read for the Cramathon, and that was Drive by James Salas, and this is based on there's a movie and it's based off this book. I love the movie, it was wonderful, and this book was a real letdown. I barely even finished it. I read like half of it and then I skim read the rest because it was pissing me off. But this is about a guy, and he is a stunt driver and he is a getaway driver. Yeah, he's a stunt driver by day, getaway driver by night. It's interesting. Ryan Gosling, yes, but not the best book. I feel it was really hard to follow, and like I hated how he didn't have a name, and the swearing was just unnecessary, and it wasn't good. It was really difficult to follow, and like I would read things over and over. It was just really difficult to follow and understand, and I was like, we were flipping back and forth between things, and I was like, what's happening? It was but I couldn't give it a 1 because I would hate to do that to Ryan Gosling. So I gave it a 2 stars, or I would even give it a 1.5. So that's not the last book I actually read for the readathon. I read a book I do not own, and it's Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist Volume 1, and I took this out of the library, and you're probably like, why did you read Yu-Gi-Oh? But okay, I liked this one. It was good. I was like in the show. It felt like I was like in this, and I was so sucked in. It was so good. It was really short, but it was really fun to read, and I just loved being in that thing. And like our actual main character is so like interesting looking. It's so interesting, and I just loved being like, I felt like I was in the show. It was awesome. So I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Oh, more books I haven't read that I don't own. I next read 50 Shades of Grey by E.L. James. I read this on Overdrive, so I do not own it, but I did read it, and there's probably a lot of controversy around someone my age reading it. Not that I'm the youngest person, but you know, it's an adult book, and I feel like, yes, it's advertised as an adult book, and it should be. And if you are anywhere around my age, I really don't recommend reading it. You can, I'm not telling you can't, but it is very explicit, it's very descriptive, it's very raunchy, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And I did see the film before this, and I felt like it was a good adaptation because it was pretty accurate to everything in the book. And after the film, I really wanted to know what happened, so read the book. Here I am. It was entertaining. It was a page turner, definitely not the best writing in the world, definitely not. It was kind of poorly written, but it was a page turner, and it was interesting. So yeah, so I gave it a 2.5 to 3 stars out of 5. Next, I read 50 Shades Darker by E.L. James, the second book in the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy. And yes, I did finish this trilogy, by the way. You will see in a second. But this book was a real step up from the first one. It was long. I read this in a day, and this is, I think, the most pages I've read in a day, and that's 520. Big book, definitely. Read it, loved it, enjoyed it. It was good. It was good. I was impressed. It was a big step up. A lot of character development. A lot of things happened. It was a real fun ride, real page turner. It was a lot of fun to read. Really enjoyed it. So that's my thoughts on that one. And I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Then the last book is 50 Shades Freed by E.L. James, the last book in the trilogy. And yeah, I just kind of marathon these. This one took me a couple days, I think like 3 or 4, because it's like 570 pages or something ridiculous. But this one was, I feel, a good conclusion. Some of it was kind of boring in between, but other than that, the plot was good. It was interesting, and it was obviously weird, but was good conclusion. And there was character development, which I was happy with, and you really got to know the characters a lot more, so I appreciated that, and I gave it a 3.75 to 4 out of 5. The next book I read was Stone Cold Touch by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Again, Ruining My White Balance. This was the second book in the Dark Almas trilogy, the first one being White Hot Kiss, which I showed you a couple minutes ago, and I also did a full-length review on this book in particular. I can't really tell you the synopsis because it is the second book in a trilogy, but it is the second book in that trilogy, and I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, really, really good twist, and it was really interesting, better than the first one definitely, and I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I just loved it. It was good. And review, click here if you want to go to that, or I have a link down below because reviews have been fun for me, so if you want to check it out, be appreciated if you've read it. If not, there's not really a point. I just check out the first one. Next, I read a book I do not own again, and that is The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. I read this on Overdrive, and I enjoyed it. It was quite interesting. It was, don't really know how to describe what it's about. I would just go in it not knowing much. It was quite short, and I listened to this one on audiobook on Overdrive, and I felt like the audiobook, I really should have read it, because this is like one of the things where you should go back and you should read pages again to understand what's happening, and difficult for someone to read it to you, and I was like, wait, hold up, what? And I'd go back, and other than that though, it was really good. But I would personally read it, if I were to read it again, wipe my brain clear and read it again, I would read it as a physical book. So yes, story was interesting. I was really bored during reading this though, I'm not gonna lie, but the ending was really interesting and it had a lot of symbolism in it, so if that's something you're interested in, I would definitely check this out. And yeah, the writing was good though, I will admit that, and I really want to read something else by Neil Gaiman, but I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Next, I read Aristotle and Dante Discovered the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin O'Leary Symes. Yes, and this book is about two boys and their friendship, and how they are Aristotle, we follow him, and how he's growing as a person and developing and learning new things, etc., etc. And it doesn't really have much of a plot. It is more character based, and it was really, really, really interesting, and I really loved my time reading this. I could really relate to what a lot of things Aristotle said near the beginning of the book, and there was a lot of wonderful quotes in this book, and I really did enjoy it. And it was a really good read, really powerful read. I know why now they gave it 4. It was nominated for 4 things, or it won 4 things, because it was really good. So I do recommend this one if you want to give it a shot. It was a lot of fun, and it was a really good read. I read it in a day, and it was really good. It was really well written, very beautiful, so really enjoyed this one in particular. And I gave this one a 4 to a 4.5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was another one I do not physically own, and that is Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie. And this book is the classic Peter Pan and the Neverland and the, thing. And it was really good to read. Someone who didn't grow up watching much Disney, it's really good to read this. And the reason why I chose to read this in the first place was because of the Peter Pan from Once Upon a Time. Because Robbie K. Damn Robbie K. So, picture of him here. He played Peter Pan at Once Upon a Time, and I wanted to read the original story, and it was good. Sometimes I was a bit bored, but other than that, it was really interesting, and it was really good to read the classic. And I really loved the concept of this book, just how everything is in this book, and just the whole concept was just genius. And so yeah, I gave this book a 3.5 to a 4 out of 5 stars. Next, I read another novella, and this is Welcome to the Shadowhunter Academy, the first novella for the new Shadowhunter novella series, and this is the novella series after City of Heavenly Fire. So I didn't even really know this existed, but I read the first one on Overdrive, and I really enjoyed it. It's what happens after City of Heavenly Fire, so please don't read any description on this, because you will be big time spoiled. But it was really good to read, and I really got back in the mood, and I really missed a lot of characters, so it was really nice to read. And I didn't know there was something after City of Heavenly Fire. Like, I knew the Dark Artifices series is coming out and stuff, but I didn't know there was something like this, so it was really good, and I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Next book I read was Every Last Breath by Jennifer L. Armentrout, the last book in the Dark Elements trilogy, and this book I got early. What? That's quite weird, but I pre-ordered it, and I got it like 4 days before the actual release date, and I was so confused. Is that how pre-orders work? I don't even know. And it's supposed to come out on the 28th, and I got it on like the 24th, and I was so shocked to find this in the mailbox. But wonderful book, wonderful conclusion. I did enjoy it. Some things bothered me. I'm lucky the whole love triangle thing got resolved, and everything got resolved, and I really love Roth, and the characters are really interesting, so really happy about this one, and I gave this one a 4 stars out of 5 stars. Almost done, guys, don't worry. Oh my god, almost 30 minutes of footage. Next, I read Blue Exorcist Volume 2. And this was really fun to read, really good, still really good in the series, and I'm really enjoying it so far, and I gave it a 4 to a 4.5 out of 5 stars. So yes, wonderful, fun, I would check them out. And the last book I read was The Wrath in the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh, and this is a retelling of 1001 Nights, and this revolves around a boy prince king, a young boy prince king thing. He's a young king, and he is basically he marries a girl every night and kills her at dawn, and we follow a girl who goes and volunteers to be his wife, and with a plan to kill him for killing her best friend. So yeah, very interesting. I really did enjoy our main character. She was really good to follow, and I loved how she wasn't some vulnerable, nervous, anxious person, and she was strong and had a motive, and she was just strong to follow, and she was sassy, and she was fun to read from. And just saying, can't pronounce her name. It's like don't know. Half the time I just called her Charizard. Sorry. That's probably offensive, but I don't mean to. It's just that's how, if you flip a couple letters and like drop a couple in, it's Charizard. So that's how I read it. And there's a glossary in the back of this. I'm telling you this now because I did not find it. How can I miss the glossary? I don't know. And that would have been helpful. And yeah, there's a glossary, so check that out. And I really enjoyed this book. It was really interesting. It was hard for me to wrap my head around everything specifically, but it was really well written in a way. Like, it was just line by line. It was really beautiful, and I really did enjoy this, and I really am excited for the next book. And yeah, I'm really excited for the next book, so I would recommend this book very much. I didn't like it as much as other people did, but I still gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. So, and those are all the books I read throughout the month of July. I think I did pretty good for a reading month, and I'm really happy with what I read. And I read a pretty good mix of genres and everything like that. So I'm happy with that, and a lot of good ratings in here. None of them were 5 out of 5 stars for me, but a lot of them were close. Plus, I don't like giving books 5 stars. I'm really iffy on which ones I do and which ones I don't. My battery is dying, and I will see you guys very soon with a new video. Thank you so much for watching if you stayed till the end. Bye-bye.